Hello, listening to Guilday's Guests on WXSULP Salisbury. Um, I switched to Monday instead at 6:30 because uh, Thursday at 2:30 to 4 doesn't work for me. I didn't realize that until much later than I should have. So yeah, the last two episodes have been missing, so just be aware of that. And I still need to edit the one from a few weeks ago. But we're getting started right on here today. Is my friend Allie Jones from the Eastern Shore. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Just a little tired. I had to drive home today from.
Like home?
I had to drive from home back here.
Oh, you went there this weekend?
Yeah, and so I left at 9 this morning. And I just gotta say, with all these AI replacing jobs and stuff, why haven't they just replaced gas pumps? Because I swear, it's Russian roulette. 5 out of 6 gas pumps, they just don't work with my card or whatever. And they're like, oh, please go inside and see the cashier. It's like, no. So then you have to get back in your car and drive to the one that's right next to it. And that one still doesn't work. And then you gotta find a new gas station.
First world problems, right?
I don't understand. It hasn't been adapted in 50 years. Cars have been around for 100 years now, and we still have to deal with the inconvenience of that. It doesn't make any sense. But they've got Apple Pay, and I'm sure that works, but it's like, why doesn't my credit card work? I don't know. It's dumb, and I hate it. How was your day going?
Pretty good. It's been busy. I had work this morning.
Where do you work again?
At the Pure Fitness. I'm a
That's
child care
right.
worker, so I watched a bunch of rugrats run around while their parents work out.
That's gotta be so fun.
I think at most it was me for 2 hours by myself, and then somebody else came in. I had 13 kids by myself.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 2 6-month-old. The rest were up to ages 12 years old. They were...
I feel like if you're like 6 months old, if you're bringing your kid to a gym, I think you need a specialist. That's a baby. That's an infant at that point.
I mean, yes. I mean, they're honestly fine. They just sleep in their car seat unless they start crying, and then I gotta hold them. But other than that, all the other kids play with themselves. So personally, I think that the 6-month-old are a lot easier.
It's just dropping them off in a cubby and I feel like you'd be
That's
better
what they do.
off
They have 3 hours to go to the gym, and their kids get washed for free.
just like the fire station. You can drop them off for a certain amount of time, come back if you got stuff to do.
Oh my gosh, you can do that?
Well, I mean, you can drop them off if you of course, sorry, I'm not gonna say if you don't want them,
but
if you can't take care of them, there are these in fire stations a lot of the time in states that require it. There are these boxes outside where you put the kid in and then grab a goodie bag and then close the door, and then within 2 minutes someone inside the fire stations have come to take the kid.
No way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
Yeah, and so, but apparently you have a certain amount of time to come pick them up.
Well, yeah, Pure Fitness, we don't take the kids forever. You got to come get them back.
Well, you haven't done that yet. Let's just say that hasn't happened yet.
Hey, once my shift ends, I'm leaving. I'm out of there. If their kids are still there, that's their own fault.
Right on.
But yeah, I worked today and then did some stuff with the sales team, Masby sales team. We did some fun cold calling.
I was there.
Did some different personas. I was what was I? I was a 30-year-old kindergarten teacher. I played you played a cop. That one was funny.
I played a cop. I played an old woman.
Who died.
Oh yeah, she did die or something. That one I thought was the funniest.
Yeah.
Just because halfway through I went, "Are you really pitching to me right now?" A sales thing.
I'm dying.
Yeah, and then I got argumentative with
and he goes,
the guy.
"Well, it's what about $5?" I'm dying here. He's
Yeah.
like, "Well."
Yeah, I was just not interested, but that was fun. And then the cop, and there was something else I did, which was kind of lackluster. But anyways, What's your favorite musical?
Musical?
Yeah.
I haven't been. I think the only New York shows I've ever seen were the Rockettes. We always did
that's a good show,
New
though.
York around
You
Christmas,
gotta
so we'd
do
always
that.
go to the Rockettes. And that was really, we never did shows. We always did the Rockettes.
Interesting.
But I'm gonna say musical. I'm gonna say High School Musical because I can do that.
That's good. I would. I don't know my favorite. It was always Little Abner, which is kind of like it's like an old show. I really enjoyed that one. Annie Get Your Gun was a great one. But the two Broadway shows I've seen, one was Chicago,
Okay.
and I would. I'm sorry. My favorite is Wicked.
That's
I just
okay.
remember that.
I've seen
was,
Wicked.
Wicked was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then I've seen like Hamilton on Disney Plus, which is great.
Ooh, that's what I really wanted to see. I remember it was
yeah.
really big. My dad was like, "We should go to it," but we just never.
I was gonna go to the Kennedy Center one, but I just didn't get to it. And then what else? Yeah, so I saw Chicago, and honestly, I could have took that one or left it. My mom and my friend's mom really loved it, and I thought it was fine. I don't see how it's been running on Broadway for 20 plus years. It was fine for me. I could take it or leave it. But the other one that I feel like is going to be a badge of honor one day is I saw Spider-Man Into Dark.
They have that. That's a musical.
Yeah, it
Oh.
ran for about a year, and then it killed someone, and then never again.
What do you mean it killed someone?
It killed an actor.
Like a stunt?
Yeah.
Oh wow! How long ago was that?
Oh, probably early 2010s, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically, what they had to do was, the whole idea was they were going to get actors to swing above the audience, and they did.
Until some.
Until then, and the show didn't go on. But that's what they did, and it was really cool when I saw it, like all the performance and stuff. But apparently, it was a bad musical in terms of musicals. But that crowd, it takes a lot to make them happy. And then, but it's crazy what they had to do. They took the sky cam from NFL stadiums.
Yeah.
The thing that like kind of shoots around the stadium. They took that as the thing that drags the actors and swings them from the bottom of the stage to it was like they jumped from the rafters and they swing over and then they go to the stage. And they had like 12 different Spider-Men at any one point.
Wow.
Because he was running around and doing all this stuff. And it was really cool. But just the cost alone behind that. I mean, before you even start a show like that, you're going to have to get, I don't know, probably like $5 million to get that system. And then have to renovate these old theaters that have been in Broadway since the beginning.
Yeah.
And try and get this giant mechanical monstrosity to do that. And then get all these safety permits. It would take you probably like a year or 2 years to try and get it running.
Just not worth it for them.
Yeah, and then, it didn't work. So that was probably what really did in the end. The cost just couldn't justify it. But they'll never do that show again, ever.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, Spider-Man Into Dark. It was wild.
So I guess is that like what, all three Spider-Mans combined?
No, it was a completely different one. Like it was new and it was
Oh,
like
like
a
not
musical.
even like a new.
It was a musical.
Not based off the first.
Well, I mean,
second, or
like the
third
Green
one.
Goblin was in there and
No.
stuff like that.
Mary Jane, probably.
Mary Jane was in there, yeah. And Spider-Man was in there, believe it or not. But that was that. Who would play you in a movie about your life?
Ooh. I would say I would do Reese Witherspoon or I'm trying to pick blondes.
I mean, anyone can wear a wig.
True. Or maybe Jennifer Aniston. I love them. Or Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock's
Sandra
a really
Bullock
good
would be
actress. I would say any of those three I would let play me.
For me, Denzel Washington. I think he
I
was...
see the resemblance there.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, probably Zach Galifianakis, if I'm going to be real.
Okay.
I've said I've been told I look a lot like him, so not by my friends. Let's say that. By people who probably aren't my friends. So, what's the biggest red flag you've seen in a person recently?
So that's a... I would say lying. Lying is just builds so many things off of one another. You say one lie and then you just lose all trust. You rethink everything you thought about that person, and it's just like, it's the fact that you know that they're lying and they still lie, and it's just like, come on, really?
Yeah.
Your mama never taught you the golden rule.
For me, recently, it's if you have one of those drink mixing sets, but you're not
what kind of drink mixing set are we talking about?
like, it's got like the big
Like, it's
steel
already, like,
shaker and
like a mixologist kind of. Okay.
But you're not a bartender.
But they make you feel. See, I got one. I have like a nice little stainless steel one, and they make me feel like a bartender. So you're gonna make me lose my happiness because it's a red flag.
It's a red flag.
That's not
it's
a red
big
flag.
one. Maybe it's because the person I know who has one is just a big walking red flag.
I assume that's not about me. You're talking about the original
the
shaker?
original person. Yeah. So, you get $1 billion, right?
Okay.
But every time you buy something, it has to be in cash, and you have to lick into every single individual bill. Do you take that?
Is the bill freshly printed money?
Every 10th one isn't.
I would say, you said $1 billion or $1 million?
Billion.
I'm going to say no, because I get very sick very easily, which is ironic because I work with kids. It's very ironic. I already gotten sick. It's fine.
I mean, yeah.
I have a very low immune system, so I think I'm going to have to say no to it and put the hustle on and work for my own money.
It's a good pick. I mean, I would just say just because,
but it is $1 billion.
It's $1 billion, but also, if you buy a car, the maximum amount you have to do would be in $100 bills, but still, like, the cheapest car, you'd still have to, like,
lick it at
least. Lick $200 bills,
And that's when you get a...
But you
think about it. I mean, you give a person $1, then that's going to give it to another person, and it's spread.
Plus, like, you go to Five Guys and you order your thing and your burger, right?
You got that greasy burger money.
Yeah, and then you take a bite of your burger and everything tastes like dollars.
Do you not wash your hands before you eat?
Well, it doesn't matter. You just licked a dollar bill.
How though?
You paid for your.
But the cook, they changed their gloves or something, right?
Yeah, but you put a dollar bill in your mouth. That's not going to wash right out.
I mean...
You lick 5 bills, and that's going to taste like that for about 30 minutes.
All right, then. I guess I'm taking the $1 billion.
Sure. I get it. What's worse, nosebleeds or hiccups?
Hiccups, because people might know you're drunk. But then nosebleeds, people might think you're unconscious.
Yeah, that's a big, you got to wonder, what type of image do you want to put forward?
But I feel like hiccups are a lot easier to get rid of. You can do like the handstands you can do like a cartwheel or hold your breath, swallow 3 times.
Yeah, but not in public. You can't do the handstand or cartwheel in public.
I mean, why not?
Well, because then you've got, no one thinks you're on coke and no one thinks you're drunk, but everyone thinks that you're just
crazy.
Weird.
You're just weird and crazy. Weird and crazy is fine with me. The less you care, the happier you'll be.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, for whatever reason, I think nosebleeds happen at the worst time. Like, hiccups happen really bad when you're talking, but nosebleeds, I think, just, like, will happen when it's at your most inconvenient.
I'm trying to think the last time I've had a nosebleed.
I had one this weekend.
Why's that, Tom?
I was just sneezing, and it just happened, and I was wearing a white shirt.
Oh, now hiccups won't get your clothes dirty.
Yeah, no, but
ruin a shirt.
Yeah, but everyone who knows me knows I get hiccups really bad, and when, like, at my job, if I get hiccups, everyone goes, "Oh, they're back," and then that is what I know for. And then my mom will go, oh, the hiccups are here, the hiccups, and she freaks out, and I want to kill her. But I don't know, hiccups hurt for me, like, really bad.
Really?
They hurt.
Interesting.
Are you excited for your new job?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah?
I think I'm just more excited to get out. Because, I mean, I've lived here my whole life. So it's nice to kind of see what else is out there.
Where are you going again?
Charlotte, North Carolina. Yep. I'll be there in June or July.
Oh.
Yeah. It's not I mean, it's a pretty big move, 8 hours away.
Yeah.
But like I said, I've never experienced anything outside of the Eastern Shore. I went to college here, went to high school here.
Yeah.
Went to elementary, grew up here on the water. So it's going to be definitely a change, but it's an exciting change.
Yeah, my parents have been going a lot of places recently. Like, they went to Charlotte last semester, and I don't know, I think they're probably house shopping for when they retire. But
in Charlotte?
Everywhere, pretty much.
Okay.
Mainly Eastern Shore they want to do. I don't know why, but I guess to be closer to my dad's family, because they're all moving over here for, like, now, I guess. I don't know. Some of them might move to Philadelphia, apparently. I don't know.
No, Eastern Shore isn't a bad place at all.
Yeah, no.
It's just once you've lived here for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Not that you get sick of it. I could definitely come back home. Oh gosh, I love living right by the water, the beach.
I just can't.
Farmland.
I just can't bring myself to leave Montgomery County, really.
Mocha.
I know it's so expensive or whatever, but it's just like everything's there. You can find anything. And also, I just feel like if I lived on the Eastern Shore, it's going to be a huge just pain for me.
It's a lot different. Oh, it's a huge change.
I mean, just going to get my emissions checked. You have to go over to the other side of the bay.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, everything, you say Montgomery County, I'm like, well, all I know is that's over the bridge. You say PG County, that's over the bridge.
Well,
I don't know where over the bridge.
I don't know where PG County is either. I think I'm right next to it or something.
They say, like, Carroll County, I'm like, I just know that's over the bridge.
I know Howard County is, like, north or something to me, or maybe it's west, I don't know. But all I know is that DC's south and Baltimore's far away from me.
Yeah, well, that's where Lindsay is.
By 20 minutes.
She's in right outside DC, Alexandria.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad. Well, it's...
I had a girlfriend.
It's so expensive.
I had an old girlfriend in Virginia.
An old girlfriend?
Yeah. She stalks me on LinkedIn.
She's an ex for a reason, though, right?
She stalks me on LinkedIn.
Is that why you broke up with her?
No. That happened after the fact.
Oh, that's
like,
different.
Way after it was appropriate to stalk me anyways.
Yeah,
weird.
but LinkedIn, she got to know that you can see blank view your profile.
I don't think she did.
That's like the number one rule of LinkedIn.
She did it more than once, too.
Oh, that's not good.
I just thought it was hilarious.
Just to see how you're doing professionally.
I put that right in my stand-up bit. And I can't say the joke here. But, yeah, that new job sounds exciting, really.
No, it's definitely going to be, like I said, it's going to be hard work. It's good money, though, and I'm excited to meet new people because I'm, like, a very personal person and just like to always talk, energy.
Yeah, big time.
And meeting new people, that'll be exciting.
Yeah. So, on to Masby stuff.
Oh, gosh. Not the Masby.
As you know, Sergio is Mr. Guido.
Sergio, yes.
Jason is J-Boog.
Yep.
Let's see. Heather's H-Mac.
Yep. I'm Leslie, or Teen Mom.
Yeah, you're Leslie or Teen Mom. Who else has one? Annie's got Bavani.
Bo Lando crew.
Yeah, and then what's Jordan's? Bolin. Yeah, I think that one's like less than
I feel like Jordan has one.
Jordan.
She should have one.
Yeah, that goes on to the question, who are some people that should have a nickname that don't on the team?
Oh, I just remembered another one. Brian's Big Moose. That was New Jersey.
Oh,
we
Big Tuna.
Big Tuna, that's what it is. We miss Big Tuna.
Oh.
I would say some memorable or like to give off their personality is very memorable, is Mr. Justin Stewart.
What's that, Stewart?
I mean, they go by Stewie, but like...
Stu. Yeah.
Stu, okay. I guess that could be a nickname.
That's him.
But like, I guess like a funny nickname for his personality. Who knows how to describe that one, though?
I don't know. God.
Wild card.
I was thinking, it's got to be, like, it's one of the old heads.
Old heads.
I know there's got to be someone that, like, needs one, doesn't have one.
Maybe Lexi.
Lexi.
She goes, they would call her by her full name, Alexis
Page. Yeah.
Who else is an old head?
Oh, and then Fox's name is great.
What's Sevens?
Fox.
Just Fox. Well, yeah.
And that's great. It's really good.
Last name, it works out well.
I was
Who
thinking.
else needs one? I'm trying to think who was on the team.
I was even proposing Mr. Masmy for me.
Oh, you're Mr. Masmy.
Yeah, I was thinking about sending that in the group chat on Thursday for whatever reason.
Well, you
I
were
thought
called
about
the most handsome by
By-
one of the newbies.
Yeah. I was called that. But I had to. He was looking for money when he said that, so that's why.
That's why. That's the only reason why.
Yeah, pretty
They
much.
want your money, so they're going to call you handsome.
Yeah. What's the silliest sport? I think it's jousting.
Oh, you're saying in general. See, I thought
Yeah,
you meant
this
like
is
you
a
were
que- I
saying.
haven't moved on to anything
Well,
yet.
you
We're just
started
doing
to sip your
questions.
coffee, so I was like, oh, is he gonna say like your most silly sport you've ever played or you've
No.
ever watched?
Just like the silliest sport in general.
I saw this. My dad. We were just chilling, and then he's flicking through the channels and sees, it's like professional tag.
Oh, I know that
They're
one.
like in a closed arena,
Yeah.
and there's like a red team and a blue team,
Uh-huh.
and they both start on like separate sides, and they have like 30 seconds or something to tag the other person.
Mhm. Yeah, like that one's really cool, but also I watched
Is
it.
that really a sport though? That's a
I
child's
watched it.
game.
I watched it for 5 minutes, and like,
It's pretty entertaining. I'm not,
It was-
I
it
think we
was-
watched it for a little bit.
yeah, it was entertaining for about 5 minutes, and then you realize like, oh, these guys are like really good at parkour, so it's not really that entertaining.
Yeah.
Like it just takes a while for them to get tagged. Like there's nothing really. I think it would be much funnier and like a lot better to watch if you got like two guys that weigh like 250 pounds to play it, but still have the same court.
Like sumo wrestling.
Yes.
almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Two overweight, heavyweight champions playing tag.
Exactly.
All right.
Or just people who don't know how to parkour. I think that would be really good.
Yeah, because you have obstacles and they're just bouncing all over it, climbing and...
Yeah, and it was like, it's kind of like watching those people do the Rubik's Cubes.
I always wish I knew.
Where it's like, they know what they're doing, so it's not that entertaining to watch, unless you're into it.
But it's just like you're amazed by it. They do it in like 6 seconds.
Yeah,
It
that's
takes you
cool.
like 6 hours because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. But like jousting's pretty silly, and it's the official sport of Maryland.
Is it really?
Yeah.
On what official terms? Just like...
In 1960, they said it was the official sport of Maryland.
See, I would have thought lacrosse.
Yeah,
If you're from Maryland, you've
think.
played lacrosse,
Yeah.
you've seen lacrosse.
You love lacrosse.
Yeah. Lacrosse and crabs are life.
Lacrosse is so much fun.
Lax is life.
I wish
as they
I wish I
say.
played it in high school, but like I was doing wrestling, so.
See, I tried it out. I was probably, I want to say like 6th grade,
Mm-hmm.
and there was just so many rules. You couldn't go inside this one area.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't check above
That's
this.
that's the
so
thing.
many
I've-
rules.
And it
Wearing a mouth guard.
It doesn't make sense to me because I've watched all my cousins play lacrosse, and 2 of my cousins are girls and one of them's a boy. The girls' team was like really good. I think they won states, or maybe they lost, but it was like the only MoCo school to get states ever, or like get to states from
Really?
lacrosse. Yeah.
That's cool.
And but I've been watching them, and I'm like, there's so many more rules to women's lacrosse, and like it's like not as rough, and I'm like, I don't understand.
Because they're not wearing all that equipment that the guys
But
are.
like they should. It's
Yeah.
so much more fun to watch. I mean, okay. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that.
But I mean,
that men's
people
sports are
pushing
more-
each other
yeah.
like football, where you're wearing
But
all
like
that gear.
even the men's sports, like you can't hit each other with the stick. You have to hit the stick. But like with women's lacrosse, you can't do that, and it's just like it's a different game, and in a way, it kind of takes away from like what you know and like what's kind of like what you're more comfortable playing with.
Yeah.
Because like.
Same as watching hockey too. Hockey,
Yeah,
they're all wearing
yeah.
some protective gear.
Yeah, and
So they can be as rough as they want.
I don't know. Like, I'm not saying these high schoolers should be fighting each other, but like, they should
Close
get, they
to
should
it,
get
though,
close.
right?
They should get really angry and get each other's faces. That's
Close to it.
that's the equality I'm looking for. Is there a gift that you're going to give yourself once you graduate?
I would say the gift of responsibility.
That's a
Because
terrible
there's
gift.
a
That's a terrible gift.
but there's
that comes with taxes
there's a
and
method
stuff.
behind exactly. But so I mean, my parents have given me a lot. They've paid for a lot, and so my dad's been since I think 13 or 14 months. He's been counting down the days and the months since I get cut off, which is July 1st.
Mm.
So I'll learn that. July 1st, I will learn responsibility. So that's going to be a big kick in the butt.
Mm. Yeah.
So I'm going to give my gift of not going to spend too much money because I know I'm going to need it to learn a lesson.
Yeah.
Maybe I might take a nice vacation.
I used to be a lot worse with my money when I first got a job, which, like, I guess you have to go through that type of thing when you first get a job.
That's
where
learning
like,
the value of money.
It's like, oh my God, my paycheck's huge. It's $250. What? Oh my God, I could buy everything I want ever.
Now that's 2 weeks at the bar here.
No, that's 1 week at the bar. Come on.
How much are you buying?
Not that. But, when you first turn 21, that's what that is.
You just got to flirt your way into a drink, right?
Yeah.
You gotta learn. You gotta learn the gift of flirting. I'll teach you that gift.
I guess I do. I want to get a watch, a nice watch.
Like a nice Rolex.
Not a Rolex. That's a lot. That's a lot. I don't think my degree's worth that much.
Yeah.
But probably like a nice Seiko.
Okay.
There's been one I've had my eye on that I'm gonna probably see if I can get or pay part for, and my other parents pay for the other part.
See, I like Apple Watches, though.
I like it, too.
Because I do a lot of the fitness stuff. Like, I'll track my workouts, and I like to see, like, how much I stand, move, exercise, and all that. And I do competitions with my sister.
Yeah. I like it because I feel like James Bond when I say...
Would you have, like, a nice watch on your wrist?
Well, that, but when I say, hey, S-I-R-I, sorry if you're not good at spelling, I just can't say it right now or else my phone's going to ping.
Okay. I was like,
And I didn't want people I don't want the broadcast to shut down for people who are listening on their phones.
That's a valid point. Yeah.
There's been tons of times where
so
that's
S-I-R-I.
happened. Yeah. So I'm very conscious of that. But, I just like having that where it's just like I'm driving or something. I'm like, hey, text someone, and then text them. It's like, pretty cool. I like that.
Groovy, man.
Is there anything you want the audience to know before we get started?
Oh, we haven't even gotten started yet?
Well, we have to go through the stories and stuff, and I know I didn't give you any heads up.
Yeah, I know. I asked him. I texted him.
Yeah.
I say, "What can I do? Anything to prepare? Like, what's the topic?" And
nope.
he goes, "Nope, you're flying solo." I said,
because
all right, sounds good.
And this is
so just know that's what I want the viewers and the audience to know. I'm going solo.
This is gonna sound so pretentious, and I hate it, but it's the truth. You're not the guest here. The stories are the guest.
Oh.
So you go through the same thing as the audience does.
So I'm going clueless.
Yeah, but you add in something.
All right.
And the stories are the guest.
All right.
That's what happens. That's why I do what I do. And I've had other people say, "Oh, why didn't you give it out?" I'm like, "That's the reason, because you're not the guest." Sorry to make you feel.
Guilday's guest,
Yeah,
aka not me.
Sorry, you're not that.
I'm not that important.
Yeah, in terms of the storytelling. In the news, Cardi B's alcoholic whipped cream is just officially dropped.
Okay.
It's about 10% alcohol, but I don't know what that translates to because whipped cream is mostly air. So it doesn't make much sense. Would you try it?
I've already tried it technically.
Have you?
We were in Deep Creek Lake. This was like a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we were at the liquor store and they had like alcoholic whipped cream. And we were like, yeah, let's do it. And it was actually pretty good. The only reason we got drunk, though, was because we were drinking West Virginia moonshine. But I would say it definitely tasted a little like alcohol. Just a little bit.
Ugh. There's going to be so many mix-ups with kids' Sundays in the coming 6 months.
Oh, my gosh. Because you put, I was a kid. I would reach in the refrigerator door for the Ready Whip.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Honey, why are all the kids all loopy?
little warpath.
Oh, it's just sugar. Sugar rush. Hide the trash. Sorry. Yeah, this is going to be kind of not recent news, but A$AP Rocky and Rihanna are officially pregnant.
Baby number 2.
Yeah, and it was really funny watching all of the newscasters during the Super Bowl and the coming days after not being able to say A$AP Rocky. They all were just like Rihanna and ASA or $8 AP Rocky are pregnant. And like there's like a 15-minute compilation online of all these newscasters not being able to say ASAP Rocky.
Are they really? See,
Yeah.
I just saw some funny tweets saying like, "Oh, I can really see why he's ASAP or called
Yeah.
ASAP or some funny stuff like that." But I didn't
Yeah.
hear anything about them saying
Yeah.
$AP.
Yeah. So and you could tell, like, you know, where their interests lie, these newscasters and sportscasters, because, you know, they won't be able to say ASAP Rocky, but they'll be able to label some player that's been on the bench the entire time, Darquilius von Lederhaus, and they'll say it 100% correct.
Yeah, and I could
Something
do
like that. And it's like, you know, they won't be reading that for the first time ever.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, ASAP Rocky, that's pretty...
So, you know,
it's
they
not
don't-
like he's a no-name. Like, he's pretty popular.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. So Jake Paul and Tommy Fury had their fight last night, and you know, Jake Paul lost.
Did he really?
Yeah,
See, I don't keep up with that.
it was like a, I don't know, like 8 maybe 10 round fight, and it was awarded to, what's his name, Tommy Fury. I didn't even know he was gonna fight recently.
But how many... He's only been, like... Jake, he's only been in, what, three fights?
3 or 4, but apparently he's done like pretty well in all of them.
Except for, I guess, this one.
Yeah, I mean, no, he
He won the first one, right?
up,
It was like a knockout. I remember seeing this. It was like my birthday or something.
Yeah, and he like fought the past heavyweight or
Yeah.
welterweight, and you know, he just like won automatically. So like he's not a slouch or anything, but the fight's still not as entertaining as former Prince Harry and Meghan Markle getting mad at South Park. Have you heard about those?
I did not. I do not keep up with the news. I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you. You're
It's-
saying all these
it's
news stories.
fun.
I'm like, okay.
So
I'm trying.
yeah, South Park released an episode about 2 weeks ago where their whole shtick was they had the prince and former princess of Canada. The prince was red-haired and the princess was like tanner, so you know you knew who they were talking about. And they basically went on a world tour where they were just constantly yelling at people to respect their privacy, and they wrote tons of books and stuff about people aren't respecting their privacy, and they went on the news
What?
talking about how people don't respect their privacy
The people in Canada.
everywhere.
Oh, wow.
Everywhere. And it was so funny.
I mean, when you're famous, you
Yeah.
you should expect that.
Well, that, but it's so funny because, you know, these people, they're not real people. I mean, you know, they haven't, I mean, you know, Prince Harry was in I guess he was in the Royal Air Force at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, but they haven't really worked a day in their lives. They haven't ever been worried about their next...
They don't know the value of money.
Yeah, they don't know about their next paycheck
Yes.
coming in. They've never worried about that, or
Yes.
that, oh God,
They have people coming in,
I'm
making their
late on
breakfast, making their bed.
I'm late on my car payment.
They don't know any about
No.
it, yeah.
Do they have a car payment? No, I think they just skipped it. But it's so funny because, you know, after the episode aired, they've got all these news agencies jumping on, you know, those two, and they're like, oh, what did you think of it? And then, you know, Meghan Markle says something like, I was crying when I was
What?
watching it. I had to turn it off.
They're so funny. Oh my
Just
gosh.
like-
I still don't understand why he gave up all that money.
I don't know. I think it was just probably because he was on the way out anyways, because I think, like, the royal family's trying to shrink down their numbers.
True.
Because there's, like, 15 of them, and, like, 4 of them got canceled or something like that.
Yeah.
And a few of them are...
The only one that lasted was like Kate and what was it that prince?
The balding one.
Yeah.
So that, and, like, I love South Park. They're, like, Trey Parker and Matt Stone are two of my favorite creators. And it's just so funny that we're going back to this thing where these celebrities are going to try and sue South Park when they've gotten through probably
How many seasons? Yeah. South
like
Park is
26
old.
It's 26 seasons old, and you know they've done all these different things. They've made fun of Tom Cruise and Scientology, and like you know even them, Scientology hasn't gotten a thing on them.
It's just like a kind of like the what do you call it, Saturday Night Live or like any of those skits.
Yeah, in a way, but also Saturday Night Live is a bit more tame in their satire.
South Park has
there's
no filter.
Yeah, no, and you know it's just, and then you know you've got all these old reports where after Harry moved to the States, he was like, oh yeah, I think this free speech thing is bonkers. It was like, yeah, dude, I think I knew some guy by the name of your great-great-grandfather. It's not the same thing, dude. What?
It's, yeah.
Like, we get it. You want to sue us because we said something.
South Park. Just let South Park be South Park.
Exactly. What else? The Mexican president today just posted a photo claiming he had proof of a little woodland elf to his Twitter.
Oh.
And I've seen it, and...
Does it look legit?
No.
No.
No. But the country's mad anyways because of his recent grab at power, so he's not doing too hot. In the UK, Jimmy Poll, 32, apparently stole over $38,000 worth of Cadbury cream eggs. Prosecutors say.
Stole eggs?
He stole a truck full of eggs.
Can't blame him.
Yeah, but you kind of got to think. You got to think to yourself, once you steal a truck, of course you're out of there as soon as you can, and you're like, oh, fine, I got away from the cops. Oh, let's check what I stole, and then you open the door, and it's just a bunch of Almond Joys. It's $38,000 worth of Almond Joys. I'd turn myself in too.
Yeah, or maybe I'd sell them. I don't even know what I'd do.
How are you going to sell an Almond Joy?
I don't know. Did you say Almond Joy? Why
Yeah.
did I think you said eggs?
No, I did say eggs, but
Oh.
I think it would be funnier if it was something that no one eats.
Oh.
So that's why I changed it.
I don't think I've ever had an Almond Joy.
Exactly. No one has.
They have like coconut milk or
They got
something
like
in it?
coconut and almonds in it. And
Ooh.
it's like those are two things that are very rarely put in
When
a
I
candy bar.
when I went trick or treating, I would want the Reese's peanut butter, Kit Kats,
Yeah.
the Mac Daddy.
Yeah, that's the candy. That's the candy gets
Not
thrown
no
away.
Almond Joys. That would get thrown away. That's
Thrown
in my
away
mom's
candy.
pile.
Yeah, and those are two very rare substances that are like almost never put in a candy bar, and to have them together, and have, they've been in a candy bar forever.
Yeah. I don't know how they've lasted.
No, me neither. I think it's just because they've got a Mars bar. They're from Mars.
Oh yeah, it's a whole company. That's
Yeah.
they can afford to.
Well, they can afford to do a lot when they have slave labor. Yeah, if you haven't heard about that, that's what they do.
I've not heard that, but
Oh yeah, they do that. So, anyways, on to the main segment of today. Don't you hate losing something that like you really need, or like you were really looking for on a certain day, like your wallet or your keys?
I would say yes. That's why you got to get the what do they call the air tags? Apple
Yeah.
air tags. I see people put them on their wallets, their keys.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I don't lose my things because I'm very OCD organized.
Yeah, I have to have certain pockets for everything.
But I feel like you lose your stuff.
Sometimes, yeah. But usually I just try and take the minimum amount of stuff. But usually it's like 5 or 6 things that I have to take on me.
I would say clothes is what I'll lose most because I have so many. I'm
Socks.
I'm a shopaholic.
Socks.
So I got a lot of clothes and I always just miss them and lose them. Matching socks. I don't match my socks.
That's the greatest mystery of like the human experience is where'd that other sock go?
My mom, it's funny because we redid her laundry room for Christmas, and she would always get so mad because we would always have like missing socks everywhere.
Yeah.
And so then we made like a little picture with like clothespins hanging, and it said "lost and found" or like some like cute little missing in action. And it was like they would clothespin the socks on them that you'd lose, so you could find them.
So this segment is basically about people that went, oh, I misplaced something, but they really shouldn't have.
Oh.
It's like either really bad or it's like how'd you lose that thing? So, if you don't know, broken arrows is a code name given by the U.S. government to lost devices that were once in a country's possession. These devices are often quite important, and it's really shocking how you'd even manage to lose one of them. Do you know what these devices are?
Computers?
Close.
Maybe like a. When you're saying close, it makes me think like maybe a phone.
They run on computers.
They run on computers. This type of machinery.
Sure.
I mean, am I getting hot or cold?
Well, you're being very broadly warm. Broken arrows are the code name given to nuclear bombs that have been lost.
Okay, that was I had the computer part. That was
There have been 32 instances of broken arrows since 1950
Oh.
that are public record, and 6 are still lost. These are their stories.
This should be good.
The longest missing nuclear weapon hasn't been seen in 71 years, and it's unlikely that it's going to be found anytime soon. Let me flip the page here. I know, I'm very analog. What?
7-Eleven, I think, or 7.
Yeah, no, sorry, it was my buddy Jay calling me. I was asking him how to play the music in here earlier, but he didn't answer. It was lost when a crew of United States Air Force Convair B-36 bomber was conducting a mock nuclear airstrike and was en route to Ellison Air Force Base, AFB, when it had engine trouble. Not wanting to crash with a nuclear warhead, the crew was ordered to drop the 3010 kiloton Mark IV Fat Man. That's the one they dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and bomb into the Pacific Ocean.
Those are not found.
No, that's not found. 6 years after losing the first bomb, 2 nuclear cores were lost when a B-47 bomber likely crashed in at the Mediterranean Sea when en route to MacDill AFB Air Force Base, Florida, to Ben Glier Air Force Base, Morocco. The aircraft had successfully completed its first aerial refueling, but it failed to make contact with the tanker for its second and was reported missing.
No big deal.
The exact weapon wasn't disclosed, but the B-47 typically carried a 3,400 kilogram Mark 15 nuclear bomb. No trace of the plane nor the bombs has ever been found. February 5th, 1958, during a simulated air combat mission near Savannah, Georgia, another Air Force B-47 bomber carrying a Mark 15 collided with an F-86. After multiple attempts to land, the bomber crew was given the green light to jettison the bomb to reduce weight, also to ensure that it wouldn't explode during emergency landing. The bomb, which was dropped over the Warsaw Sound near the mouth of the Savannah River, wasn't recovered. January 24th, 1961, somewhere over Goldsboro, North Carolina, a uranium core was likely buried in a field. It was one of the cores to a pair of 24 megaton nuclear bombs that were on a B-52 that had crashed shortly after takeoff.
What?
What was especially unsettling about this incident is that 3 of the 4 arming mechanisms of the bomb that were recovered were activated.
There you go. That's some smart idea.
The second bomb's tail was discovered 20 feet below ground in a muddy field. When efforts to find the core failed to uncover it, the military did the next best thing. The United States Army Corps of Engineers purchased a 400-foot circular easement over the buried components to restrict digging.
That's it?
No.
No.
But I just put in a cap over it.
It's just how do you... We have all this technology. All of this new, we're inventing great things.
Well, this was...
Electric cars.
This was 60 years ago.
But still, we still haven't found them?
No.
That's insane to me.
Well, I think one of them, they know where it is, roughly, and then they just put a cap on it.
And said, called it a day.
And said, no one dig here.
Don't do that.
Don't dig.
Something bad might happen if you dig.
There's a nuclear bomb under here. We're not sure where, but just don't dig.
Somewhere in this area.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, December 5th, 1965, somehow, look how it said somehow. This is an article I got this from. An A-4E Skyhawk attack aircraft loaded with a 1 megaton thermonuclear weapon managed to roll off the deck of the U.S. Ticonderoga and fell into the Pacific Ocean. The pilot, plane, and bomb quickly sank in 16,000 feet of water and were never seen again. However, it wasn't until 15 years later that the U.S. Navy ever admitted the accident had taken place, and only noted that it happened 500 miles from land. However, that wasn't true, as the carrier was about 80 miles from Japan's Ryukyu Island chain, As a result of the accident, the Japanese government now prohibits the United States from bringing nuclear weapons into its territory. Now, I'm not sure if you're a huge history buff, but I would have thought they would have restricted that about 20 years earlier.
You would think. I'm not a history buff, but you would think. It sounds like a lot of lack of common sense here.
After the first two times that they brought nuclear weapons over, I thought that was already kind
One
of
strike,
well
two
explained.
strike, yeah.
That, like, hey, you can't bring this stuff back over here. I know the first time
Third time's a charm, though.
Yeah, but the first two times
But
they
it comes
meant
with nuclear weapons.
the first two
Third time's a
times
charm.
the first two times they meant to do it, and they meant to drop it out of the plane. But I thought it would have been kind of like good faith that you wouldn't have had those around those areas ever again. I thought that would have been well understood. But
Clearly not.
So spring 1968, the final bomb to be lost and not recovered occurred sometime in the first half of 1968 and involved in the loss of the U.S. Navy's nuclear attack submarine USS Scorpion. God, what a good name.
The USS Scorpion.
Yeah. God. What a shame we lost that thing. Which sank about 400 miles to the southwest of the Azores Islands. In addition to the tragic loss of 99 crew members, the submarine was carrying a pair of nuclear-tipped weapons, which the yields of about 250 kilotons. So that's the 6 that we've lost and never gotten back.
And just somewhere out in the world, floating about, or dug, or ready to be undug, or undig. How do you say that?
Dug up.
Dug up. That's you know what I was saying.
Yeah. But there is a fake article. Oh, that's nice. Doug Tribal emailed us. He said thank you.
Oh.
But it was there was a fake online article that was posted in the past 5 years where it said North Carolina man discovered to have been powering his house with a missing nuclear bomb for 20 years.
How do you even
so funny.
do that, though?
So funny. It was a fake article.
Oh.
But it's just so funny to me. Have you ever heard of the nuclear kid?
I have
the
not.
Nuclear boy?
No.
Nuclear Boy Scout, I guess the actual term's called.
Did he cry wolf or cry bomb?
No. There was this kid who was a Boy Scout, and apparently he was pretty smart. And he got into his head that he was going to build a nuclear reactor. So he did. He built the reactor portion, and but there's a few things that you can't necessarily buy. It's like Cuban cigars and then nuclear material. Those are kind of the two things that you can't really buy.
Make sure you got your ID though.
Yeah. And
by those nuclear devices.
Yeah. So you've got to be 200 years old to buy those. So those are two things you can't really buy in the United States. But what you can buy is a bunch of used fire alarms, which contain a very, very small amount of nuclear material.
Oh.
So he was buying these.
I mean, how many did he buy?
A lot of used ones, because
thousands.
Once they're used up, or once they run out of batteries, or the old ones, you kind of would just have to throw them out and dispose of them.
Okay.
But he would just buy them from these places that just didn't use them anymore.
So that's not as suspicious as buying.
Well, no one was thinking.
TNT.
No one was everyone probably thought, oh, he's just going to try and resell them. Who cares? No one thought, oh, this kid is going to build a nuclear reactor in a backyard.
This little Boy Scout.
Yeah, and he's probably 17 at the time. But
wow.
Eventually, some people started reporting that they weren't feeling well in the neighborhood, and it was discovered that this kid had a nuclear reactor little thing in his shed.
Oh my gosh.
So he was arrested.
He was busted.
And I think even after he was arrested, or maybe he wasn't arrested then, but they took away his stuff. But I think after that he was still flagged for trying to buy some more nuclear material.
Wow.
A few years later, and then he was arrested. I think he's out now. probably still trying to do the same thing. But like the neighborhood was like irradiated for a while, and like the residents of the neighborhood like have had health problems since then.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he's probably got health issues then, right?
Oh yeah, no, he had like chips of skin,
Poisoning.
kind of
Holy.
like like rashes and stuff. So yeah, nuclear radiation
Smoke
poisoning.
alarms.
Radiation poisoning is no joke.
Wow.
There's also a story about they're called nuclear ladies. So basically, back in like the late 19th century to early 20th, the material radium was discovered by Marie Curie. Well, it wasn't discovered by her, but she discovered the properties of radiation at that point. But this little material could glow. And I thought, oh, that's a good sign. So they would paint it on stuff. So they would paint it on watches, so you could see it at night and it would light up.
Okay.
But the problem was that in these factories where they made these watches, they had these ladies who would often lick the tip of the paintbrush before to get a nice stroke on the paintbrush. So they, in mass, eventually developed radiation poisoning and cancer.
Was that like glow in the dark, the glow sticks and stuff? The same?
Not glow sticks, but it was mainly watches that would happen to them. There's a lot of different reports of these factories where they would use materials that just that no one really knew the effects of. And, it was so bad that, radiation or radium and radon were prescribed as like, they were in these like glass bottles that like they were at some point like for 5 years like, oh, the new health cure or whatever, because everyone heard about radiation. They're like, oh, that'll help.
Reverse the effects.
Yeah, and like, or no, they just thought it would be a great idea to put that stuff in. That's why they put cocaine in everything. Oh God, I was born in the wrong generation. But no, but and there was also stories of the Mad Hatter. From Alice in Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
That was derived after people who would make hats during the process of making the hats.
I think I heard that, yeah.
Yeah. To get them like stand up straight, there was some process in the middle where you had to use mercury to get them to stand up, I believe, or to get the material just right. And but it eventually led, like, if you got exposed to a lot of it, you would just go mad with it. So, for like 20 years, you'd have people going mad and stuff like that, and it just didn't occur to these people that this was the reason. But
that's the name, Mad Hatter.
Yeah. But moving on to our next lost item, you ever heard of the Roanoke Colony?
Yes.
In Virginia.
I just took a world history class over winter break.
Yeah.
So tell me all. I mean, I can't tell you all about it, but you could probably ask me a few things.
So, basically, it wasn't the first colony to be set up in the United States. That's Jamestown.
Yep.
But it was one of the first. I think it was like the third. Don't quote me on that. But basically, in 1584, Queen Elizabeth I grants Sir Walter Raleigh charter to explore and colonize North America. Raleigh sends an expedition led by Philip Amadeus and Arthur Ballot to the east coast of North America to explore and make contact with the local tribes. In 1585, Raleigh sends a second expedition led by Sir Richard Grenville to establish a colony on Roanoke Island, in which is now North Carolina. The colony experiences difficulties with food supplies and relationship with the local tribes, because they just kind of started living there for no reason,
Said, hey, we're gonna share.
Hey man, that TP got set up.
It's gotta go. Doesn't work out with the layout.
really want to put a log cabin there. It's got a great view. I respect you for having it, but
We're gonna give you the old Spanish elbow there.
yeah. I'm gonna take that. Sorry. All these, Native Americans just like, God.
It amazed me how
His
calm and tranquil they were in that whole.
I don't think they were.
I think it was numbers wise, they didn't have enough number.
I just think all these people had guns
That is
and smallpox.
Yes.
And
Yes,
they were angry, and they were angry white people.
Oh yeah.
And
coming over from England.
yeah, they had a lot of smallpox. So they couldn't set up the colony then, but in 1587, Raleigh sends a third expedition to Roanoke Island, led by John White, with 117 colonists, including women and children. White establishes the colony and returns to England to obtain supplies due to the outbreak of the Anglo-Spanish War at the time. He was unable to return for another 3 years. But through this time, it was believed that Roanoke, the colony, had tried to establish in many different parts of the eastern shore of the United States, like kind of North Carolina, the islands, basically, or our peninsulas, Assateague and stuff like that. Like, they had established stuff in the Chesapeake, and they were kind of well understood. Like, the Chesapeake kind of, you can establish something there and it's good. But the inner side of the North Carolina, the bay kind of thing, brackish, it was a lot harder to get through just because they had much worse storms than the Chesapeake. It was just a lot worse to establish colonies, so Roanoke was the only place they could really get it done, besides Virginia and the Delaware and stuff like that.
Okay.
So in 1590, John White returns to Roanoke Island to find the colony abandoned. The only trace of the colonists is the word Croatoan carved in the post and CRO carved into a nearby tree. White believes that this is a sign that the colonists moved to Croatoan Island, but he's unable to conduct search due to a severe storm. So 117-ish people, or basically 100 people, were left there during that time. And then when he came back, nothing.
I feel like they could have maybe... I should know this question. I took U.S. history class.
And then about 13 years later, Raleigh's charter is revoked, and he's in prison for treason. The fate of the Roanoke Islands colonists remains a mystery. And then moving forward a bit, 1834, North Carolina Governor David L. Swain commissions a search for the lost Roanoke colony, but the search is unsuccessful. 1885, the Dare Stone, supposed artifact related to the lost colony, is discovered in Chowan County, North Carolina. The stone contains a message claiming that Eleanor Dare, the daughter of John White, gave birth to a child named Virginia Dare before the colony disappeared. This kind of stone is kind of widely contested between experts of if it's real or not, just because I think he was kind of one of the guys, one of the guys that found it was kind of one of the guys that's found dinosaur fossils and stuff like that.
And that's just it, it's history. You can only know so much from what you find, but there's so many conspiracy theories and maybe this happened, there's only so much you can tell.
Well, yeah, but this was kind of one of the guys that said that he found a glass skull, and then he walked in the convenience store and there's videos of him buying a bunch of glass before he found it, and it's come on, Dave. I mean, come on. 1937, the Roanoke Colony Memorial Association erects a monument on Roanoke Island in memory of the lost colonists. 1998, archaeologists discover a site on Hatteras Island, North Carolina, that may have been a temporary campsite for the Roanoke colonists. They find fragments of pottery and lead musket ball that may have been traded with local tribes. 2015, researchers used advanced technology to study the site on Hatteras Island and find additional evidence that supports the theory that the site was used by the Roanoke colonists. However, the fate of the colonists remains unknown. And it's kind of crazy. There's one of my favorite YouTubers, is Lemino, Lemmino.
Okay.
he's got like tons of educational content, which I love. But there's one about the Roanoke colony. It's kind of cool how, in like the early, when we were just trying to figure out what happened, they would use this kind of camera and stuff. They would put it under like a black light or whatever, and they would go over the maps at the time, and they found that there was like invisible ink on these maps, and that, I believe, is where they found this secondary location, or is painted on there, that in the shape of what was typically at the time like a fortress, or like a barricade for like military usage.
Interesting.
So that's how they found that kind of location, and before they looked there. But still they don't know.
Unsolved.
And also there's kind of some, Croatoan isn't just an island, it's also the name of the people who the tribes that live there. So there's it could have been, we went to the Croatoans. There's some theories where they just kind of started living with the Croatoans, and probably got together at some point, and stuff like that. But that was that. No idea where they went. No idea what happened to them. Speaking of things lost to time, the Prime Minister of Australia in 1976, Harold Holt, went swimming with friends in the ocean and just never swam back. He's probably still out there. So he's lost.
Probably got tired, didn't want to swim back.
He's lost. That'd be like kind of just a bad way to gain power, though, isn't it? If you were vice president, right?
Okay.
And then the president was like, all right, Allie, I'm going to go swim. Is that okay? You want to go swimming? And you say no. And he goes swimming and then doesn't come back. And now you're in charge.
Fed you to the wolves.
Of like the 10th most powerful economy in the nation, in Australia.
I mean, hey. If he had a calling to go swim, let it go face his calling.
And
I guess that's what they signed up for when they knew they were being the VP.
I guess so. We don't know where the original moon landing site is exactly. That's kind of that has also been lost. But there are still the mirrors that we put up there. We put mirrors up there to shoot lasers at them so that they come back for whatever reason, just as a test thing and to make sure that we went up there, just as proof.
Interesting.
Back then, because I don't know. I guess there was a lot of. I would assume that it was proof to all the other countries. That you'd point a laser up and then shoot back, and you go, God, darn it.
They beat us to it.
Yeah, they beat us to it. Also, fun fact: the flag on the moon is most likely white now, due to solar radiation.
Good to know.
Yeah. Oh, I love the things that they used to bring up on the moon and bring to space. Man, they bring so much fun stuff up to space.
Did they really?
Yeah, they would hit golf balls.
Oh, that's fun.
They hit golf balls up there, and they used to drive the moon buggy around and stuff. Oh, they left the moon buggy up there.
Fun times in space.
God, it would be a really cool place to have a cookout if you were able to make a fire, breathe the oxygen, or drink beer in space. To
think they're having cookouts in space and we're doing a radio show in Salisbury, Maryland.
They can hear it. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff they brought up there. Also, if you ever want to look up something fun, we like to take certain animals up to space, and one of the animals we took up to the ISS was we took frogs up there.
Frogs?
Yeah, to try and see how they react in zero gravity. They didn't
live?
like it. They didn't like it. They lived. But they did not like it. They did not know what's going on.
They're like, what do I do?
They were just jumping.
So in shock that
they were jumping, and they couldn't land because there's no There was no
So when they jump up, they're like
They
jumping.
just kind of flail their legs and stuff. It's great to watch.
I'll YouTube it.
And then, there's that. Also in the ISS, there's a thing called it's called the Immortal Drive, which is basically a little kind of flash drive or motherboard that has the coding of human DNA on it, if anyone ever found it, and if humans ever were done for. So that's up on the ISS. It's a little confusing because the ISS is scheduled to crash in 2025.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So that
Intentionally, but yeah.
interesting.
We're gonna build like a second one, but like, it's just I think at this point in time, it's quite outdated. We haven't really attached any new modules really in, I'd say 10 years probably.
Wow.
So it's quite outdated in terms of like what's going on up there, and also just the stuff on the ground that's been happening hasn't exactly, because the ground's where all the funding is to all these people from all these different countries, and when the grounds of these countries are fighting against each other, the people up at the space station can't exactly be friends.
Work together.
I mean, like, they can work together. Apparently the Russian Federation of Cosmonauts, that's what Russians call themselves, cosmonauts, not astronauts.
See, I like that better.
Cosmonauts does sound cool.
Sounds cool. An astronaut.
Yeah, they're really good at naming their spacecraft. Sputnik was really good. Apollo's a great name. But
nothing like the SS Scorpion.
Oh no, God, no. But that's pretty much where they go. And but apparently the Russian cosmonauts are they're pretty in favor of or against the Ukraine war. So that so they're kind of they're fine with working with everyone just because they work in, it's basically international waters they work in. They're not exactly contracted, like they're not down there working for the government. But they're pretty cool. I love space. Man.
I know, you're like a big history in space. The Air Force is perfect.
Yeah. I just got to decide between officer school or reserves.
Flip a coin, I guess.
That'd be harder than. But I'll work around. I'll work for a bit, and then we'll see what happens. And who knows? I might just like my job so much that I
never want to leave.
Yeah, I stick around. Yeah, that's pretty much the end of my segment for lost things. We still have 20 minutes.
Did we really?
Yeah, we still do. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I have an hour and a half.
Oh, I thought you only have an hour.
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Anything you've heard recently? Interested in?
Trying to think anything lost I've...
It doesn't have to be lost. I finished my segment. Give me anything. I know that really puts you on the spot.
I know.
I have notes for... Oh! I do remember something. So, it's really interesting to know that in science or biology, there are these phenomenon where animals and groups of animals kind of have these biological or evolutionary arms races, where it's really cool. Like, when you see like a super toxic or super poisonous frog, right? Where it's brightly colored and it's like out there, and like if you touch it, you'll get very, very sick.
Is that kind of like when you touch a frog, you get a wart or whatever that saying
The
is?
toad thing.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from, but I don't think that's ever really been proven. I just think it's like don't touch
Don't
dirty,
touch a toad.
Yeah, don't touch dirty toads without washing your hands. I think that's really what
Common
it is.
sense.
Yeah, but when you get these super toxic animals, you'll also find in the same environment some equally resistant kind of other animals. So in the instance of the toxic toads or toxic frogs, you'll find snakes that are highly, highly resistant to toxins. So what has happened...
So they're eating these animals then?
Yeah, so what had happened is you've gotten a fight evolutionarily where every so few generations there's been a super toxic frog that has been bred, and the snakes will eat it, and however many let's say 99 snakes will die from the frog, but the one is super resistant to the toxin, so he gets on to breed. So it becomes this exponentially growing effect where these environments that create these super toxic animals will also create these very resistant and resilient animals. So there's a lot of different instances of these arms races. And one of them happens to be with spitting cobras. Spitting cobras are the ones that kind of open up their mouths and then they'll spit a painful kind of toxin, right? Like
a venom, yeah.
Yeah, and
okay.
it won't be it won't kill you, but it'll get in your eyes and you'll freak out. So what the scientists have discovered is that with these snakes, they will spit this venom, but they're most effective at spitting the venom about 5 feet and up they're not effective at spitting down at animals, and the animals down there don't really get affected by it.
So it's more of your taller animals,
yeah,
bigger animals,
but mainly humans and mammals that stand up on 2 legs. So they've developed this trait that was purely for us, and in the same instance, humans have this skill where there was a test done where scientists wanted to figure out, how good the human brain was at picking out certain animals. And what they discovered is, they would show images that were, very blurry and of different animals. And so they would gradually lessen the blurriness and of all these animals. And what they discovered was humans and mammals or apes and stuff were a lot better. 30%, they would see a snake 30% faster than they would any other animal.
It's because you know the body of it. You know what it...
Yeah,
you
so...
see 2 large animals and they would be... Okay, all right, I can see that.
So that's what I think is kind of cool is, there's even evolutionary arms race between humans and snakes. Whether, we realize it or not, we were kind of bred to, we evolved to really pick up on these characteristics of snakes before any other animal, because that was our danger. We weren't exactly being hunted by any other animal, but the snake was the only thing that was ever going to be truly dangerous to us.
Yeah.
So that's a really kind of that's what I found out recently.
That's interesting.
It was really cool.
And that's all recent?
That I don't know. I saw a Hank Green video where he was talking about it.
That's really interesting.
Oh, good. God, I forgot about this one. So in basically the 1700s, the United States was...
Back to the history.
Yeah. Just because I forgot to put this in the script. Or maybe I did, and then it just wasn't saved properly. But basically, in the 1700s, while we were still a colony of the United States...
I found this on the web.
Sorry. we were supposed to get the metric system. They were trying to convert everyone over to the metric system.
Did the Greeks do that or something? I think it's something else. No, they invented the calendar.
Well, the English were trying to convert all of their colonies to the metric system because I guess previously we were doing the imperial system.
Okay.
So we had all the weights, we had all of the rulers and stuff, or for the metric system of a meter, centimeters, stuff like that. And it's very important when doing any type of system to actually have the official weights when it comes to kilograms and pounds and stuff like that, because the as it stands right now, the pound is still derived off of the kilogram. Over it's we know that the pound is 1.6 or something kilograms, but it's the kilogram is only determined by itself. And when it comes to that, it means you have to have something that is exactly 1 kilogram in order to work it across the entire system. So there's also this other fascinating thing of like how they manage that. But back then, you had to have a standard, and we had to have a standard over here so that we could just distribute it across the colonies, not just like work around the big gap. But the ship that was carrying all these standards was attacked by pirates and stolen.
No way.
That's the reason we use Imperial.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm. And then also we in like the 60s we were supposed to switch back over we were supposed to switch over into the metric, but it was on the state level. It was kind of like you can decide if you want to switch.
Yeah.
But at this time we were also building our highway systems and all these different things that were like, all of our systems are based on the Imperial miles per hour, the mileage on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
It was based on that. We couldn't exactly just switch over, and even the FAA and like flight still based on feet instead of meters.
Yeah.
So you can't exactly just switch that. It's not like when you switch something up like that, it's not great. And it can cause a lot of problems, especially when you've got all these different things running at the same time. There's stories about how countries have switched over from the left side of the road to the right side of the road, and it's caused mass mayhem. In Sweden, they did that, and even like when cars weren't that popular, it still caused a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the main reason why we're Imperial, is because the pirates stole these little weights and probably threw them overboard and didn't sell them.
Find them with the nuclear bombs.
Yeah. Yeah, they're down there with the nuclear subs and the USS Scorpion. So there's that. But how they do these scales now, they have this crazy system where they have to keep these scales or these weights in like a glass bubble, so that they could try and mitigate the half-life of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because every so often everything decays at some point, just because of how atoms work. So they have these tungsten things which have the half-life longer than anyone else, longer than any other element, mostly. And you can't touch them, because if you touch them, your oils are going to get on.
Ow.
And then if your oils get on them, you have to wash them. If you wash them, that adds on more molecules. It will mess up the entire thing. So there are these weights that have to be checked every 10 years or so, I believe. And it's just like the amount of precision behind that. And how they've tried to mitigate this recently, or try and stop the decay of atoms, is they've created a tungsten ball that, or maybe it's titanium, that is the smoothest thing on the planet. It's the most circular object on the planet.
Okay.
Because it's going to decrease the amount of decay, and it would be just a lot easier to run numbers on a ball than it would be on a scale. So they developed this thing, and it's smoother than a cue ball microscopically.
Smaller than a... Okay.
It's smooth. It's way smoother. Like,
wow.
Yeah. And did you know that if you sized up the Earth, or sized down the Earth to the size of a cue ball, it would be all the mountains and stuff still smoother than the cue ball.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm. And the I know I'm going every which way, but I don't.
Science, history, math.
I don't care. We have 10 minutes left. I don't care. The distance between the moon and
Now we're on to astronomy.
Yeah. Well, we were on there for a little, but the distance between the moon and the Earth. Do you know how long that is?
Wait, I should know this. Isn't this like some hipster quote that I see? Like, I love you to the moon and back, which is this many. Something like that.
It is. You can fit all of the other planets in between the moon and the Earth.
Because we're.
That's how far the moon is.
Wow. Because we're the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, here's the sun. We revolve around the sun.
Mm-hmm.
All the planets revolve around the sun.
Mm-hmm.
The moons. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Even like have more room too.
Like
can't you?
if you squished all the planets together in between the moon and the Earth, there would still be some space.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah. And it's really interesting to learn about how like interstellar bodies really move, and they're always in a disk pattern for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much like the only way they can form. Just in a way, there's not going to be one that's like shaped like a ball, like a galaxy that's shaped like a ball, or a solar
all
system
shaped like a disc.
Yeah, like all the planets will kind of be in a line.
Yeah.
To the tune of about like 2 to 5 degrees off from each other. And I love James Webb, this new space telescope they put out. They just released some pictures that they discovered 3 new quote unquote galaxies that they'd never seen before.
Just off this one telescope.
And they were made about 600 million years after the Big Bang, which completely throws the entire theory of how we think that galaxies form out of whack, because that's far, far too early for any galaxy to form.
Yeah, 600 million, that's... Did you say billion or million?
Million.
Million, I'm getting confused.
It's all right. But that's really young in terms of...
Yeah.
I mean, the universe is, I believe, give or take 13 billion right now. 14 probably.
And if you go even 600 million years
earlier
than that.
The Milky Way is rather young as well, but we're still kind of out there in terms of how big the universe is. But that is far, far, far younger than we ever thought that a universe or a galaxy could form. And it blows my mind, because how they show these things on the pictures is they're like 8 pixels. It doesn't make... I don't know how you could tell how old something is from 8 pixels. It doesn't make any sense. My only guess is because of the location and because of the color. Because certain galaxies will look a different color if they're coming towards us or coming away from us.
Okay.
So if they're red, they're going away from us. But if they're blue, they come towards us. At least that's my elementary school, middle school interpretation. Just because, I didn't study astrophysics. I wish I did, but I didn't study hard enough in high school.
Stuck with the business school.
Which I love, but it's always just been fascinating to me to learn about that.
No, it is fascinating. Very fascinating.
Oh.
More than current pop culture and current events.
Don't get me wrong, I love those. God, I love those.
Good entertainment.
Oh, so good. I've been really focused on AI and stuff, and I'm I'm trying to think about how everything's going to change in 20 years. What's some of these high-end jobs that are just going to be out the window,
car mechanics.
No, they worked in the physical world.
I'm thinking car mechanics. How much longer till electric cars are all we have? Battery powered.
It's never going to be fully switched over. It's a complex thing. A lot of states are 2030, and a lot of
I think I saw
a
that.
lot of countries or a lot of companies are being 2035, then only electric. And I don't really care, to be honest. I'm a big car head, and I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand the hate behind them. It doesn't make any sense to me. Just because you're too stuck in your ways to understand that the world's changing in a better direction, it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. I get it. We're kind of in the first 10, 20 years of cars being a thing, and or electric cars being a thing commercially, and if you want to be the horse and buggy guy saying that oh, cars will never take over the road, you can be that guy. You're going to be wrong, and you're going to be a lot
Everything's
slower.
constantly changing.
You're going to be a lot slower than the other guy, and also, you know, it's fine that cars can drive for you. It's fine.
I think it's more of needing the big tractor trailers that need to go electric.
Oh,
there's
God,
the ones that
yes.
use the most gas,
God,
the most
yes.
fuel efficient, like those are the ones that definitely need
Well, I
to
think that and
give off the most emission.
I think that needs to go electric, and I think that honestly, big tankers,
Yeah.
they're about like probably 10% of like emissions that aren't like factories and stuff. Those need to go electric, and that would be so easy to go electric because you have this giant tanker. You can put solar panels over the entire thing.
Yep.
And if you know, like,
Don't
oh, we don't
stop because it
we
takes.
we don't have enough power.
power.
If we don't have enough
Yeah.
power, you can just anchor for the night and just wait. Like, you will be absolutely fine to do that. And
Like you said, solar power. I mean, while they're driving, they can literally be using or getting energy.
Exactly, and even like planes. I think planes are a big one that
Mhm.
need to be.
That's way
The
years
only
away.
thing that like I know can't be switched over to electric power is rockets. That's the only thing. Like,
Yeah.
Like a chemical reaction is the only thing that will propel us far enough up, and the only way, like, without you know, having air or friction, you know, that's how like helicopters and stuff work. You won't be able to get up higher than like a plane without that. So, you know, rocket. That's the stuff we need. That's the stuff we need to save our oil and our petroleum and all that stuff
Yeah.
for. Is the stuff that we can't replace. That's it. I know we'll make alternative fuels or whatever, but like, you know, if we're going to be conservative about it, let's stop making plastic bags.
I think they're banning them in Maryland come, I think some point this year.
I'm fine with that. I know Moco.
I know Delaware did it.
Moco has a tax on them.
Some people charge
It's like
for
5
now.
cents
Yep.
for a bag.
Yeah. See, I have like this little tote, stays right in my car, and I get all of my groceries for the week, put it in my little cart, and then I walk out with it.
I don't care, just as long as they don't get rid of, or as long as they like don't get rid of like people helping me, not at self checkout. I can't
Dude,
do
I can't do self checkout.
I can't. It's so annoying.
I hate it. Oh my gosh!
Because
I just like
they're
this
so
whole,
finicky.
yeah.
It's
And you
like,
try to, and I get a lot of vegetables too, and like fresh produce, and I'm like trying to type it
Oh.
in and find it. They're like weigh it, and then it's weighed wrong,
and then it freaks out, and it's like call an attendant. It's like, this isn't
and you have to
self-checkout.
wait for the person. And only have one person working 10 machines.
This isn't a self checkout. If someone has to check my ID to buy beer, I don't understand. Oh, God. Those are like just the minor inconveniences that I think.
The little
like,
things.
It's just
The
holding
little
us.
things.
It's just holding us back as a society. Though that's the type of thinking that has kept us from the moon for the past 60 years. The people that made self checkout. If
It's
they'd done
either-
anything useful with their lives, we would be on the moon right now.
I mean, yes, but at the same time, it's either hire somebody who could potentially steal and cost more money in the long run, or have these one computers.
You can't steal if you're checking out people the whole time.
You steal money from the cash register.
Yeah, whatever. No one uses cash anyways. That's a bunk deal.
That is also true. I can't remember the last time I used cash for something. Nope, I got a DQ Blizzard the Saturday night.
I use cash quite a bit.
I use it for small stuff. Anything under $10, I'll use cash.
Dairy Queen's a weird kind of segment, isn't it?
I love Dairy Queen Blizzards. I don't like their food, but the DQ Blizzards Oreo.
I just don't understand. They've got fierce fans.
Fierce fan.
Fierce. Dude, I don't want to fight a fan of Dairy Queen. That's a bad move right there. They probably watch MMA. They're not good at MMA, but they watch it. You know
See, I
what
never
mean?
got taken there as a child. If we ever got like fast food or something, we'd get like Chick-fil-A or maybe Panera, but we never got like maybe McDonald's sometimes, but we never got the KFC,
No, not
Popeyes,
KFC.
DQ, Wendy's. We never got any of that.
Popeye's great.
I never had a Popeyes. I've always wanted
it's
to try
so
it.
good. It's expensive, but like it's really crispy.
Crispy chicken.
Really, really good. And their fries are good. They got Cajun fries. They're
Ooh.
really good.
I'll definitely. Now I'm craving
And they
that.
got some rice and beans, and then they got what's it called? Mashed potatoes.
Ooh, I love a good That reminds me of like Raising Cane's
Mm.
or Bojangles.
I think a Raising Cane's come to the Maryland.
We did. I think we got one in Towson or something, or Baltimore
Oh,
maybe.
good. I can't wait for what's it called? Sheets to come to Gaithersburg.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
God, I love Sheets. Man, I get a sandwich. I call it the brick. It's $20.
$20 for a sandwich?
Yeah, but
Ooh.
like,
Does it even get like fries or a drink with it?
I put fries on it.
You put fries on a sandwich?
Yeah, it's one of the options
What?
on the machine. I'm fine with those.
What is this, like Wawa? You make your own sandwich?
Yeah, but it's so much better than Wawa. So much better.
Oh, see, I like
There's
Wawa too.
so many more options. Like, and like, you know, like 90% of their subs are hot, which is like so much better for me. I don't like cold subs. It feels lazy.
Feels lazy. Comes out quicker.
But like, you know, I get double meat, and I get
French fries,
chicken tenders
on a sandwich.
Yeah, that's what there are. Chicken tenders on a sandwich, and ketchup, extra ketchup, cheese on a bagel roll.
On a bagel.
And then when I order it, it's basically.
How does that all even fit on a sandwich?
It doesn't.
You have to like.
It doesn't. And
smush it down just to fit it in your mouth.
It doesn't fit on the sandwich, and the people get angry. They get angry at me.
So this isn't like a one that they have like one of their on their menu.
No.
You made this. You create
That's why
your
I
own.
called it. That's why I called it
And
the
you
brick.
call it the brick. Okay. Because it makes it feel like a brick in your stomach.
Yeah, that's exactly why. And you know, I order it, and then all the people, they get real upset.
They just know, oh, not this guy.
They're like, hey, we can't fit all the chicken tenders, and I'm like, I know, put it in a different box. Let's go. And then it basically gets, and I order it 12 inches, and it basically comes out to about a chicken tender per inch.
Wait, I thought you had a bagel. Oh, so it's a bagel roll?
Yeah.
12
Or sorry, pretzel roll, whatever.
Oh, I thought you said a bagel, and I was like,
yeah, no, that's
bagels are
that's what
like
I meant.
circular. I'm like,
no, that's what I meant. I had a bagel croissant this weekend.
a bagel croissant.
It's called a Krogel.
A Krogel.
It was good. I would prefer a bagel though.
Yeah, I don't think I can mix the two.
It was good, but greasy, and I don't really like croissants. But you know,
Acquired taste.
my mom liked it. It was $10.
Where are you shopping for your sandwiches?
Moco. So that's why. Anyways, so thanks for coming on today. Lovely time talking.
Not a problem. It's been fun.
This has been Guilday's Guest. I'll be back again next Monday, 6:30, right on the dot. Haven't decided who I'm gonna have on. Right now you're gonna get in the middle of it. It's Scoff by Nirvana, their Bleach album, and you're gonna get right into the middle of it. Thanks for listening once again. WXSU LP Salisbury 96.3. See ya.
Nice.
Good.
That was fun.
Yeah.